Hello, and welcome back to I'll Watch What They're Watching, where we're curious and adamant about cinema. My name is Kyrie. I'm one of your hosts.
And I'm Adam.
And today we are going to be talking a little bit about, what came out in April, what was hot in April, as well as, we're finally starting to hit summer blockbusters, so we have got a stacked May release list. So it'll be fun to kind of go through. But Adam, have you gotten to the theaters this week at all?
I haven't. This is probably when I get kicked off of the movie watching podcast when I admit that I've only watched one movie this entire week, and it happened to be a rewatch of My Neighbor Totoro with Oliver this morning.
As one does.
I have to say, as I keep going back to that movie, because it's one of the few that I've shown him that one in Ponyo, and he's like willingly going back to Totoro. As I keep rewatching it, I'm like, okay, I think I get it. Like, this is Ghibli at its core. This is the best. Like, I get it. Like, I do. So I might evaluate my rankings at some point. Because I do love Totoro, and now it's such a good one. But no, it's kind of a funny thing as I've been thinking about movies and things like that. Like, I watched all 50 Oscar releases. I watched every Studio Ghibli movie. I was watching a ton of Tom Cruise movies for a while back there before we committed harder to Studio Ghibli. And so I guess maybe, and I've seen something a while ago, somebody on social media or something said, it's funny that nowadays it almost feels like going to the movies or watching a movie is like intellectual stimulation for our brains nowadays.
Honestly, facts, yeah.
Versus what it used to be, like the turn your brain off, go to type thing, just based on the world we're living in today. So I need some more motivation. Maybe there's, these summer blockbusters, that type of thing. That being said, I had been reading too, so it's not like
It's not like you're just sitting around.
I mean, I am playing a lot of Witcher. We are PlayStation friends now, so you could probably check at any point in the evening, and I'm on there. So I certainly have time for movies, and I'm choosing to spend it on other things. But I still love movies. Still excited to talk about them. I've clued into the conversation enough to be able to talk about what just released. So
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I get it. Last Monday, as I've said, this is my last week of school where I don't have classes, but I've got like 2 papers, a project, and an exam all this week. And so like I'm getting to the end of school, and last Monday, I literally played Cuphead for probably like 3 to 4 hours. I came home from work, ate, played Cuphead, and at the end of the day, I was like, I don't know if that was the best decision I could have made, but I did get to go see nothing new. I planned to go see the new Michael movie or Fuse or something. Like, there was a couple things I had my eye on. I ended up just not, like, we had a really busy day yesterday. We did a massive Costco run, and
oh yeah,
it was a weekend. And I did have to, and I do want to talk about this a little bit later, I watched the Korean film The Handmaiden, and I watched that because I am doing a paper where I am comparing an earlier film we watched this semester to that film, and so that was also a trip. But I did get to go see the IMAX Whisper of the Heart.
Yes,
it was
wonderful,
lovely. I told you that I've been listening to a lot of just like Ghibli piano, like relaxation playlists, and there's one on YouTube that keeps cropping up with the song, the West Virginia country road. And the past couple times I've looked at Sarah and I've just been like, what the heck is this song doing here? Why is this, like, I get that, like, nice Ghibli piano music, but like, what is this song? Why is it here? I've just been so confused. So yeah, after watching it, things clicked. I was like, oh, that's what this is.
And not only that,
it is a main theme of this movie.
Not only that, but there's like that lo-fi beats to study to playlist or whatever on YouTube.
Yeah.
It has like 150 million views, and the cover is from Whisper of the Heart. And so people watch this and they're like, oh, no way. Oh, my gosh. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those very slice of life. I think you're right. I think Only Yesterday is the stronger film. to do that. I do think based on just the story and everything about it and what's going on, I do think it is, I know I sound like a broken record, I do think it is a hair too long. I don't know, it's it's just shy of 2 hours by like a handful of minutes. And I think for something as like light and brisk and pleasant as this is, I think I would have preferred something closer to 100 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know if it has the ability to sustain that kind of length. That being said, it's, I mean, like any Ghibli film, it's gorgeous to look at. Really bummed out. I did some look at the director. It's a shame that basically he was taken from us too soon, because I think he could have made some really wonderful, other films. I think
Yeah,
this
it's
was
really
him kind of
sad.
getting his feet wet, and you can see that. That being said, for an early work, it's really good. I think it's really something special. I think it's gorgeous to look at. I think it captures the sort of like young love aspect really well, because like at the end when they're, and spoilers for people watching, just FYI, when when he proposes, he's like, I want to marry you, and I'm like, they are children. She is not even in high school. People around, everyone in the theater was just kind of chuckling, but I love it that it does it with such straight-faced sincerity that you're like, these are kids. Like, this is what 15-year-olds believe. They
Yeah.
believe that they're gonna marry this high school sweetheart. So I thought it was a delightful, lovely little romp.
And
I
now you
mean,
know
solid
how
4-star
funny it
Ghibli.
is. Now you know how funny it is that we have the movie The Cat Returns, and you look at it and you're like, wait,
Yeah.
there were way better things going on in here with the world they were creating. What were they doing with The Cat Returns?
Yeah, I don't know. Baffling. Because to be fair, I think the moments where we enter this fantastical world that she's writing, first of all, I don't know that we need those scenes. It felt a little jarring to me from like this slice of life reality world to then this like magical fantasy world. That being said, yeah, if we're gonna make The Cat Returns, there was so much going on there that was way more interesting. Whereas The Cat Returns is just like, what is happening? What is going
Yeah,
on?
I feel like those were brief enough that it made sense. It's not, you almost expect more from like cover photos
Okay,
or
fair.
things like you see the Baron and you're like, "Oh, that's what this is about." And that's kind of what I was expecting. And so to realize what was going on, it took me like, I'm an hour into it and I'm like, when is she going to find the magic whatever that
Yeah.
she starts talking to the Baron or whatever. So I
You're
do think
waiting
that
for some sort of
yeah,
magical
that's
rock
maybe
to drop, so to speak.
why I had I think it's still a 4 for me, 3.5 at the lowest. So I liked this movie quite a bit, but looking back like at what my main issue is, that's probably what it was just a mismatch of expectations of what I was going into.
Yeah.
But I think that it's such a cool idea, again, executed poorly in The Cat Returns. We already talked about this for anyone that probably did listen to it, but it's like Ghibli doesn't do sequels, right? It's so smart to do a
Right.
quote unquote sequel of this character is writing a fantastical book, and then you do a movie of that book in the Ghibli does that like that
Yeah,
on paper is like, oh, slam dunk, great idea, but then it just doesn't work.
totally. No, it's very odd. Like, I don't even really see the cat because the Baron never really comes alive. Like, I don't know, it's a very odd connection, I guess,
Yeah,
between those two movies. I don't know, very strange to me. But
yeah.
I did love Whisper of the Heart, but I did also see, let me just open my letterbox this week because I think I did see a few things. Oh no, just Whisper of the Heart and Handmaiden. The Handmaiden is wild. Like, this movie, I want you to see it, Adam, because it has a 4.4 letterbox score.
Oh, I don't think I realized that. Wow.
That is insane. Like,
Yeah,
that
it's
is crazy.
gotta be top 50 at a minimum.
Yeah, like that's it. It is right up there with, like, I want to say Parasite. I think might be a 4.6. Parasite is a 4.5.
Okay.
Handmaiden is a 4.4. Um, I don't want to say anything about it because I don't want to spoil it. Just know it is in 3 parts, and it actually says that it's part 1, part 2, part 3. Twice did I go, I'm sorry, I try not to say language on the podcast, but I feel like this is twice I just went, "Oh, oh shit. Holy shit." Like, over and over. At the end of part 1, that's the first time I did it, is I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening, I don't know what's happening, I don't know what's happening. And then part 2 starts and I was like, what? Where are we going? Where are we going now? Okay, we're now in a different, like, we're in the past, but a different perspective. Okay. And then I keep watching, and then end of part 2, I did the same thing. I was like, holy crap, oh my gosh, what is happening? So this movie is bonkers. Like, I really liked it. I do not think it is perfect, but I think some of the narrative stuff is really cool. I will say this as a caveat, because I finished it and I was like, my gosh, I gotta tell people about this movie. This is crazy. And then I realized I couldn't really tell anyone about it, like, namely my family, because this movie is basically porn.
Sure.
Not completely, but a lot of it is. And it's kind of known for that. I knew some of it. Like, I knew there were graphic lesbian sex scenes. So I went into it knowing that that was part of it, that there was kind of this lesbian erotica through line. That being said, like, that happens in part 1. I don't feel like this is spoiling too much. There is this lesbian love scene in part 1. Part 2 is almost entirely about, like, erotica and erotic literature and how that is conveyed, how women are kind of exploited for men's pleasure. Like, it is graphic. It is
Sure.
very, very graphic. And that continues through the film. Like, there are a couple scenes in part 3 that are graphic, to the point where, like, there are some people who their big critique is, because I read through some reviews, there are people who their critique is that basically, like, this movie seems kind of how I felt about Bombshell, where it was like, this movie seems like it's a critique on how women are sexualized and exploited, and yet this movie sexualizes and exploits
Sexualized and
women.
exploit.
I don't think that's what it's doing.
Okay.
And I feel pretty good about this because there is a critic I follow who has, like, written a book on feminism in film, and she gave this movie 5 stars, so I feel pretty good about my take. Before I even read her review, I was like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good about this. And I will say, like, specifically exploitation of, like, lesbian and, like, lesbian sex and pornography for male gratification.
Sure.
And I think it is specifically making a little bit of a mockery of it. It is showing that, like, some of these, we're just gonna have to put an explicit symbol on this episode because I in order to talk about it, I need to, like, I want to give some context. There are, like, sex positions and certain things they do that are not terribly realistic, that are also, like, very much for, like, it looks aesthetically pleasing, but there's no way that people really do that a lot in real life,
Sure.
basically. And so I think the commentary is, yes, I've just given you this entire critique of, like, women and exploiting women. I am showing you this. If you are still, like, finding this, like, titillating, you need to do some self-reflection. I think I think that's part of the commentary. I think the commentary is, and I don't want to get super into it because I do want you to see it, but I do think it is talking about, I think the film is very centered on the idea of women's pleasure. And again, I'm writing a paper on this, so I'm also viewing it through the lens of, like, how does this film is a commentary on, like, Korean colonialism, like,
Yeah.
Japanese kind of annexing it and colonizing it. And so I don't know, it's a fascinating film. Like, it's fascinating. I have a little bit of a hard time telling some people that I care about and, like, people who love cinema, like, yeah, you should watch this, because, like, feminine pleasure and just erotica in general is kind of a major through line of the entire film. And so if, any sort of graphic sexual content, nudity makes someone uncomfortable, I wouldn't even say watch it edited. I would say avoid the film. because
Sure.
that is such a central aspect of what this film is doing and saying. And I think it does it in a way like the very first scene, I was like, I can tell this is directed by a male director, even if I didn't know that it was Park Chan-wook. I was like, this has a male gaze to it, but it's different. It's doing things in an interesting way that I'm going to need to think about later. And then I saw the rest of the film, so on and so forth. But yeah, if you're up for it, I really kind of want you to see it because I really think you're going to love it. And I would really love to hear your thoughts on it. But I would just say, like, I would highly, highly recommend this film. I think it's doing some really brilliant stuff. I love a lot of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, highly, highly recommend this film. I would also just say that if graphic sexual content makes you uncomfortable, avoid it. Someone with that. If graphic nudity and sexual content makes someone uncomfortable, I do not think they would find themselves enjoying this film.
Yeah, so I obviously haven't seen it and I've heard briefly of it because I've heard also of some of his other work such as Old Boy
Yeah.
and No Other Choice. No Other Choice came out this last year. Seemed to be kind of the like in the 11 through 15 range of Best Picture. So like just barely missed the cut this year.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it yet, but I'm hoping to soon.
Same.
And I, at some point in my life, have read the Wikipedia summary of Old Boy because so many people talked about how
I have as
crazy it
well.
is. So I feel like just from that, I think I can like understand that he's not afraid of sort of approaching taboo
No.
subjects or things. So I can kind of understand at least I think a little bit of what to expect if I go into this movie. But yeah,
I
no, I
would say
appreciate
this.
you
I
going
have
through that.
read the summary of Old Boy, and Old Boy, the premise and everything makes me so uncomfortable. I don't know that I will ever watch it unless I am told
Yeah.
to watch it in film school. I would gladly watch this one again.
Okay, interesting. Very cool.
So I will just say that, like, there is some I am being a little bit overzealous in describing some of how graphic it is because I don't want anyone to go into this unprepared. That being said, the end of Old Boy makes me, like, sick to my stomach when I read
Yeah.
it, and I was like, "I don't know that that's something I want to revisit." This one, I'm like, there was a lot here that I really, really liked, and I don't think
Yeah.
I find the ending to be very triumphant.
Great.
There's been a couple other episodes I put the explicit thing on just to be safe. I will do it on this one, but because the entire film is about, like, lesbian love and female sexuality and, like, feminine pleasure and desire, and it's even kind of a critique on, like, masculine, again, exploitation of, like, sexualization of women. It's just that is a major through line, and I don't want people to 'cause I literally I finished it, I was like, "I loved that." I loved the twists and turns, like, I loved this thing, and I was like, "I cannot in good conscience recommend this to any member of my family." Because it is literally one of those it's almost like a Tarantino thing where it's like, if you're gonna watch Kill Bill, don't watch it edited, it's a waste of your time.
Sure.
That's kinda how I feel about this, is I'm like, "Don't watch it edited." It's just it's a waste,
Yeah. So
but I
anyways, no,
really would like
I
you to watch it. But
I appreciate you giving that passion summary. It's I think that's my favorite is when we can it's fun to rip various things apart that we get to, but when there's real
oh,
passion
yeah.
for something, I think that's a lot of fun.
Mhm.
Which kind of brings us to this next slate, this next month of movies.
Yes.
I hope that they are things that we're going to be passionate for. I guess we should talk a little bit about what just came out and kind of the reactions to some of the things going on first. We do
Yes.
have the exact same situation going on with critics versus audience scores for the new
Mhm.
Michael Jackson biopic titled Michael. Saw someone joke that if they
Yes.
really do a sequel, they better name it Jackson. Um,
Oh, gee.
but critics did not like this one at all. We talked
No.
about this a little bit previously in the podcast. I'll go over it just briefly again because I think it's very important context that they had filmed a third act and I saw reports in the last few weeks, the movie actually started with one of his arrests in the 90s for explicit warnings already here, so for child sexual abuse. And so they filmed things, and they had a third act that was centered basically completely on that. I'm sure it was still on a pro Michael Jackson, pro kind of trying to show his side and why we should believe his
Right.
side. It's I mean, the whole movie's by the estate, but what happened was they had filmed certain things, and after they had done all the filming, they realized that one of the lawsuits and settlements that they made was they could not use one of these survivors' name or likeness in anything. And so they had to
Shoot.
rewrite, reshoot. I think it cost $15 million to do all of this, a completely different third act. And from all reports that I've seen, they don't touch the allegations at all in this movie. And so it is this cloud kind of hanging over it. And now general audiences are going and say, no, this is great. This is great visually and musically and all these different things. Critics are also saying it's still not even a good movie. But I've seen this discourse, and it's kind of like, you can't be a film critic that doesn't like, or in an example, if you're someone that loves food but you hate pizza, and you go to a pizza shop and you give it a bad review because you hate pizza already and you wish it was a hamburger, like that's not
Right.
fair. And so
Right.
people are saying, like, hold on, that's not the same thing as what film critics do and what film critics are about. And I saw one people even kind of say, no, it's kind of like you go to a pizza place and none of the pizzas have cheese on them, and they don't say anything about it. They don't tell you about it. They just kind of ignore it, and you're just supposed to kind of approach it that way. So
Yeah.
anyways, lots of discourse going on around this movie. I seen a lot of comparisons to Bohemian Rhapsody as well, of just kind of taking things of a rose-colored look back at some of these people, or even I think
Yeah.
Bohemian Rhapsody's case, it was the survive. I haven't seen it, but I've seen the
I also
discourse.
haven't seen it, but I know
The
enough.
surviving members of Queen were heavily involved, and
Yes.
made sure things were looking at them probably more positively than maybe was the case, and putting a lot of blame on things on Freddie Mercury. So, and that way,
Yep.
that one was harmful in the way that it's, harming someone that maybe wasn't given a fair
Yeah.
shake, versus Michael is, taking someone that's marred in controversy and these issues and just not even approaching it, just not even looking at it.
Well, and the thing about Bohemian Rhapsody, I have a theory. Also haven't seen it. I've seen clips. That wasn't enough to entice me to see the whole thing. I think a lot of what you said is correct. I would also say, like, no one's gonna go and complain about listening to Queen for 2 hours.
Eh,
Like, that's the thing, is I feel like people go and they watch it and they say they like it, and I'm like, you didn't like the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, you liked Queen. And, like, you
Yeah.
get to listen to Queen for a couple hours. And I'm wondering if Michael is kinda in the same boat where it's not, like, technically a good film, but you get to listen to Michael Jackson for a few hours. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
you
gonna
get to
complain
listen to,
about
like,
listening to Michael
5 of the
Jackson.
greatest songs of all time
Right?
and great performance spectacles to it. Like, yeah, I can understand the appeal of that. And I even told you on this podcast, like, hey, I've seen the trailer, and I'm like, oh, this actually
Yeah.
seems like it
You were
could be
pretty
pretty
excited
cool.
for it.
Yeah, so, you know,
We'll see.
begs the question, what's it all for? What's movie analysis and criticism even for? What are we
That's
doing here? Is
yeah,
it worth it? Is it yeah.
and we've talked about that.
It'll be a debate that never ends of, you know,
True.
critic versus audience reception. And
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, there is a lot coming out in May, so we'll go to that. I'll just kind of briefly go through some of the other April ones. Month kicked off with Super Mario Galaxy. I saw it. I think if you have kids who love Nintendo, or if you are a Nintendo diehard, it's not a complete waste of time. I, however, found it I am a big Nintendo fan, but I found it lacking in, narrative and pretty boring. And you saw the drama, right? And you weren't crazy about it either. So there's that.
I could have said more, but
I'm trying
I
to look
have.
through his Yeah, you have. I'm trying to think what else even just came out this month because it's been kind of a whirlwind.
Lee Cronin's The Mummy was fun.
That's right.
People hate it, so we obviously didn't
Yeah,
see it.
that's yep,
I guess
that's
it
fair.
turns kind of more into an like The Exorcist rather than.
That's what I hear.
Oh, okay. Here, let's talk about this. So they just did a re-release of this one. Have you seen the Wachowskis' Speed Racer?
No, I saw that they did a re-release. I'm gonna try to maybe see if I can see it this week.
Okay, so this movie, I almost want to say I might have seen this because I think my dad maybe watched Speed Racer or
Mhm.
something as a kid, and I don't know. But there's this really interesting thing happening right now where when this was first released, it wasn't like super well received, and
Right.
it has this now resurgence of people calling it like
Yeah.
not even just good but like a masterpiece. And I
Yeah.
think part of it is because it's like it is heavily stylized and heavily like really campy too. And so
And millennials eat that crap up.
right. And I think that what a lot of people are saying is like, no, 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 this is the perfect example of a movie that it is all absolutely intentional. Like, it's not bad filmmaking, it's
Mm,
all very deliberate and intentional. And when you know that and understand that, then you can kind of see the things going on. And I saw one clip of one of the Wachowski sisters where they said, like, it's kind of hard to make an anti-capitalist film under the scope of this capitalist framework of the box
right.
office and movies. So that's one of those things that they felt like the audience didn't get with. Came out in 2008,
Right.
right? The recession, housing
Right.
crisis, all
Right.
these different things. And so now it is having this resurgence. So if that's in
Well,
any of your local theaters, maybe go check that one out.
I will say this too, just real quick. The Wachowskis are like kind of known for just spending an obscene amount of money on their movies. Like, there's, I don't know if this is true, but I feel like the research I've done, it is. The Wachowskis were given a chunk of money and said, "Hey, make The Matrix." They made the first, I think, 10 minutes with that money on the gamble that they would like, look how good this is. Now give us more money so we can make the rest of it.
That's
So like the
awesome.
Wachowskis, that's what they do, is they just like dump tons of money into movies. So but anyway, other releases that came out was the new take on Hamlet, Chow, which I quite enjoyed.
Mother Mary.
Mother Mary was the other one I was thinking of, which neither of us have seen, but I know both it kind of piqued our interest. But I mean, that's pretty much it with kind of, yeah, Michael being kind of the big one that just wrapped it up. The movie Fuse is also one I want to see. It's directed by David Mackenzie, who also did Hell and High Water, which is a movie. Have you seen that one? I really like it. It's got Ben Foster and Chris Pine and Jeff Bridges. I think it's quite good. So that one has like at the very least piqued my interest, but that's kind of been it. But with May 1st, I mean, we are kicking off with a bang. May 1st, we have got The Devil Wears Prada 2. I know is kind of the big one, which is
You
going
gonna
to
go
be
see it?
very interesting. I might see how it lands first. I like the first one well enough. I don't love it. I do think that The Devil Wears Prada 2 is one that Sarah wants to see.
Oh,
So I
sure.
will she's nodding at me. So yeah, we will we will be seeing it.
What is the lowest Metacritic score it would have to get for you to say, no, I'm not seeing this?
I think it'd have to be below 50.
Okay. That's
I
fair.
think if it's in the 50s or 60s, I would be like, okay, it's middle of the road. Like, I'm not going to love this, but it's fine. when things start getting below 50, that's when I start to be like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, you've got, at the very least, it's a solid cast. You've got Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, Meryl Streep, and Stanley Tucci. So with those four, part of me is like, there's got to be at least something in here that I like.
Yeah, the hope is, and again, this is the start of the Anne Hathaway summer. 5 movies. First one being Mother
Yes.
Mary. There's this one. There's,
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting to say Disclosure Day, but that's not right.
No,
The
I know what you're talking
Odyssey,
about. Mm-hmm.
the End of Oak Street or whatever. And then there's a
Yeah.
5th one I can't remember that comes out more award season time. So the hope is, right, that it's Anne Hathaway and not, Meryl Streep,
Mm-hmm.
like all these other people you mentioned. The hope is they read the script and they weren't like, oh, sweet, their eyeballs turned into dollar signs and they said, yes, I'll do this. The hope is that they're like, oh no, there is something here. Let's do this. It's great. But I'm not like confident that
Like I
that's
said,
necessarily the case, but I'm hopeful.
the first one is one that I like well enough. I think last time I watched it, I gave it 3 stars, which is just this, just this side of positive. So I, I think it's gonna have something to it. My interest is at least piqued.
So the
One
same
movie that
I
go
don't know
ahead.
I don't know if you're going to mention this one, but same day that releases is Hokum. If you're going to mention that.
Yes, I
This
was
is
not going to
one.
mention that one. I'm mentioning the other one that I think is going to be just awful. But go ahead.
Okay, so Hokum is the one with Adam Scott where he visits Ireland
Mhm.
and then it's a spooky witch story. This is one for me on the flip side of the question I just asked. I think if this hits like a Metascore of like mid 70s or higher, or like, high 90s Rotten Tomatoes score, I think I
Yeah,
might go to this one. If it's getting reviewed
interesting.
really, really well, I think I'll go to it. I'm still flirting with Mile End Kicks. I might go to that movie this next weekend. That was the one I had the whole snafu with at my theater, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. Oh, you're
And
gonna
then there's
mention Animal
also
Farm. Sorry.
Animal Farm. I will be going to see this just because I want to see
No.
what kind of hot and fiery garbage this is.
Yeah, this one's gonna be really
I'm
bad.
I'm very puzzled by it. I probably am going to see, just because I'm a weirdo and I like doing stuff like this. If time allows with school, I might try to see every other rendition of Animal Farm that has been
Oh, that's a good
made
idea.
and just see how this stacks up. I mean, I've ranted about this before. I am puzzled by this film. I am confused. Andy Serkis is directing it, but it's being produced by Angel Studios. I don't know. I am confused and puzzled by the existence of this film. Do not think that people understand the book, but that being said, I saw an interview where Andy Serkis basically was like, I loved this book. I think this book was doing some really interesting things. So I don't know. I mean, if it's good, then I'm great. I will be surprised at what I see. The trailers are not giving me any confidence about that. So we'll have to see. But I am so morbidly curious about this thing that I think I am. I think I'm gonna try to hunt down other renditions that have been made. I'm gonna try to watch them and then see how this kind of stacks up. But I am confused more than anything, I think, by this movie.
We are at a 40 Metacritic score based on 6 reviews so far.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So,
That sounds
should be
about
fun.
right. Yeah.
So, jump into the next week if we could.
Yeah.
I actually think I might try to go to the James Cameron directed Billie Eilish 3D concert movie.
Yeah. That is something.
Yeah. I mean, it's James Cameron, and so I'm sure there's some cool
Yeah.
things going on, and I like Billie Eilish, so those two things equal up to, yeah, that sounds like a fun way to
Yeah.
spend my time.
The other one that I've seen trailers for, just because I saw both Mario and Chow this last month, and so both being animated, I saw some kind of family-friendly trailers. Animal Farm being one of them. I also saw trailers for the Sheep Detectives.
Yeah, I saw those way back for What movie did I see at Thanksgiving? Oh, Zootopia 2. I
Yeah.
remember seeing the trailer for this.
I wish it was all animated. I don't know. I'm not feeling, ecstatic about going to see it.
I think
But
this
one that
I think that one like could be there. If reviews came out and it was good, I wouldn't be shocked is basically what I'm saying, but I don't think that they will be that good. So, yeah, we'll see.
issue is
I did miss my joke about I thought of it as you were talking about the sheep one or whatever, is that the James Cameron Billie Eilish one should be great because James Cameron doesn't have to write a plot. So,
well, I mean, I have nothing to say to that. I feel like you're not entirely wrong. There's also a Japanese animated film because, I was thinking the other day and I was like, these are the roles we play on the podcast. You go actually see the thing that is like the blockbuster that people actually care about, and you let us know if it's any good or not. That's the role that you play. The role that I play is I go watch some weird movie that no one has ever heard of, and then I try to convince other people to go see it. That's what I do.
Hey.
What? Sarah just said that's accurate.
Yeah, not a bad role to play. It makes things interesting.
So anyway, I think it's Japanese. It's an animated film called Labyrinth. And high schooler Shiori's dream of online stardom turns into a mission to save the world from brain rot after an embarrassing video of her goes viral and she's trapped in her smartphone by a nefarious alter ego. I don't know if that is... I just saw it very recently. I don't know if it's hitting the country that it's in and it's not hitting here yet, and that's the release date I saw. I need to do some research, but I saw that and I was like, well, sign me up. This sounds super weird, which means I'll probably love it.
Hilarious.
But there's also Mortal Kombat 2. Did you see the first one? Do you have like a relationship with Mortal Kombat? I don't know if we've talked about this.
No, none at all. I played it maybe when I was like 13 or 14, but it wasn't like in any rotation. Like I probably went to one friend's house and played it once or twice. So, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever played it, to be honest. I remember when the first one came out and it didn't do... It did great box office wise. It didn't do great as far as like reviews. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
I think this is one that kept getting pushed. Like, I feel like we've been seeing trailers for this for like 2 years. So, we'll see.
Yeah, I think it had something to do with the writer's strike and the acting strike. And I want to say, because I feel like it came out, the first one came out during the pandemic.
Oh, okay. Bad timing for this franchise, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But then kind of unless you have another one to talk about, I think kind of the big one is at the end of the month with Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'm like genuinely nervous for this event to come to us.
Yeah. Because I gotta finish. We very soon in the next few weeks, we need to watch Book of Boba and Mandalorian season 3. Because I watched the first 2 and loved it, and you basically were like, "I'm so glad you liked it. Buckle up." And so I saw the trailers. I was digging the trailers. I don't know if that's just me being like, heck yeah, Star Wars, and I'm just excited. I don't know if it's because I did really like the first 2. Like, I don't know. I want to be excited, but I've been burned by Star Wars before.
I don't want to like temper your expectations all the way to like, I'm going to hate this, and this. It's just kind of like the first 2 seasons are really well contained and like a really good story. And so then you're watching the other ones and you're like, there's still stuff I like and I enjoy watching, and like the Star Wars of it's great, but you're kind of like, okay, like, do we really need to be doing XYZ?
Right.
All right. You realize you're just undermining some of the things you were doing by doing this action, or you're just kind of like, all right, I understand that this is making you a lot of money, but let's also make sure we're telling a good story. So and that was fairly negative what I just said, but I don't know.
It's
I want it to be good.
I've been burned by Star Wars before. Like, the original trilogy for me is like absolute cinema. And like I still have a lot of fondness for the prequel trilogy, even though I think Attack of the Clones is a piece of hot garbage. And then we've talked about the sequels. I love Star Wars. I love, The Empire Strikes Back. I love A New Hope. I love the music. At some point, we should do the original Star Wars trilogy and talk
Oh,
about
that'd
it
be a
because
lot of fun.
it wasn't even the prequels. I love Star Wars. I love these movies. I want to see the new Maul series that it came out because apparently it's awesome. And I am tired of getting burned by Star Wars because the sequel trilogy was so bad. And all these mini series that they're doing, will have some good parts and some bad parts. And I really dug seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. I was like, this feels like Star Wars. This feels like the Star Wars that I know and love. And so I want this movie to be good. I don't feel like I'm asking for much either. I'm like, I don't need to feel like I don't need to feel like I'm watching Empire Strikes Back. I don't need to feel like I'm watching, you know, Return of the Jedi as a 5-year-old kid where I am just losing my mind over the Ewoks. I need a solid action flick that kind of feels like Star Wars. That is all I'm asking for. And like I said, the trailers are giving me some hope.
Yeah, that is what I want to. I want it to be good. I think my prediction I'll put out is I I I don't think this is a failure. I think it's going to make, it's going to at least make its money, but I don't think it's going to be reviewed well is the prediction I'm going to put out there. But I think that Starfighter is going to do kind of what you're saying. It's not going to be the best thing ever, but it's going to be like, okay, we're okay with this. This is a good Star Wars movie. Let's move forward with the positives here. Is my prediction. I think
Yeah.
this one doesn't do well. I think Starfighter does.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll be seeing it. I mean, I assume you're planning on seeing it. I'm going to.
Oh yeah,
going to
yeah.
see it.
No, I'll be there night one for sure.
I mean, at the very least, I think Grogu is just one of the cutest things to ever exist on screen. So I'm also like, if you just show me, cute Grogu doing cute stuff, that's really, I'll be decently happy with that. I was looking at for some reason, Pokemon has been on my brain, and I was looking at when I did a marathon of watching movies 1, 2, and 3. And the first one I wrote in my review, I was like, Pikachu pretty much does anything, and I just I'm immensely pleased. And that's kind of how I feel about this. Is I'm like, Grogu could smile and wave at me, and I'd be like, peak. I'm so happy. I just find him adorable.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about. It'll give us some good ways to talk about what makes good stories and what makes good content. I'm at a minimum, I'm excited about it. Albeit a bit nervous, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I will ask you the question I always ask you here in just a sec, but I did want to let everyone know I am going to be getting some stuff on TikTok, so there will be Instagram and TikTok, and I am going to start doing some actual movie content as well, where it's not just Adam and I talking or clips from the podcast. I want to start putting some movie news, maybe some movie discourse on there, as well as Adam and I have talked a lot about physical media. We have our own little collections, and so we kind of want to share some of that too, just what physical media means to us, what physical media we have, because I mean, I kind of want to see Adam's collection, but I also am just a huge snob and want to show off some cool things in my collection. So that'll be kind of up and running. I'll be posting links and getting the word out about that. But Adam, what are we watching?
I guess Boba Mandalorian. We've kind of been talking about this, that Carrie's finishing up the semester. I've been, haven't had my big movie list to watch, so we haven't quite talked about exactly what we do, but I think we'll do a lot of fun things this summer, but, kind of planning out kind of some big things that we'll look at doing. So, we still haven't finished Ghibli, so buckle up those last few if you haven't, if you've been paying attention to that. I'm always looking at what Tom Cruise is doing. And, people have been speed running the Church of Scientology in LA. Maybe one of these times they'll see Tom Cruise. You got to be deep in social media to catch that reference.
I've seen it.
But, okay, yeah. So anyways, As always, appreciate anyone that is listening. Always appreciate continued conversations and feedback. And until next time.
We'll catch you later.